Thanksgiving Monday, 2023, October the 20th. I'd like to start off with the parable of the talents in Matthew 25. For it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted to them this property. To one he gave 5, another 2, another 1. Then he went away. He who had received the 5 talents went away at once and traded with them, and he made 5 talents more. So also he who had the 2 talents made 2 talents more. But he who had received the 1 talent went and dug in the ground and hid his master's money. Now after a long time, the master of those servants came back and settled the accounts with them. And he who had received the 5 talents came forward, bringing the 5 talents more, saying, Master, you delivered me 5 talents. Here I have made 5 more. Yada yada yada, down to 25. So I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here you have what is yours. But his master answered him, you wicked and slothful servant. You knew that I reap where I have not sown, and gather where I scattered no seed. Then you ought to have invested my money with the bankers, and at my coming I should have received what was my own with interest. So I'm gonna leave it up there so you can fill in the blanks if you want to read that. But I just want to say, how accountable are you with the money that you're given, with the resources that you're given? It's not just money. You got tools, you got skills, you got trades, you got ideas. What are you doing with them? If God gave you something that can prosper you, what are you doing with it? Now think about this. There's a responsibility with resources, not just money, with resources, whether it's your ideas, everything I went through already. If you are not using it to benefit, whether it's eating properly, being mindful of the people that give it to you, i.e. your parents or your lover or a friend or whatever it is, if you're not being responsible and accountable with that money, you're gonna lose it. If you can't even say thank you or show some appreciation and or reciprocity, it may not be money in return, but it may be doing the work that you were paid to do, helping somebody out who helped you. If somebody helped you financially, are you going to help them on the other end, whether they need you to bring them, some food, clothes, water, whatever it is? Are you giving people interest on what they've given you? Are you a good steward over the things that you've been entrusted with? Are you just spending, not being productive? And it's a generation out here who it's a lot of people. I don't even say generation, because from, I've seen from people my age, I'm in my 40s, on down, adults, let's say from 18 to 40, who are just not responsible. And not just with money, with time, with resources, with the ability to learn in the space that they have to learn at the time. I don't get it, and I'm not trying to understand it, because I do understand it, because if you don't train a child in the way they should go, then the child not going to do anything. And when a person is entitled and they think you owe them something all the time, guess what? It's going to keep them in the mindset that they're going to keep getting, and there's no need for reciprocity at any level. So at some point, we have to be accountable with the children that we bring into this world, and we have to be accountable with our mental health to be able to raise them, to be able to, even if we don't have children, to be able to take care of ourselves and make responsible decisions. And just because you made $500 in one day, that don't necessarily mean you got $500 to spend on whatever, because have you taken into account what $1,000? It cost me $500 a month to eat. If whatever transportation, public transportation, some sort of vehicle service. I don't want to advertise by saying their names, but you know, some type of way to get from point A to point B, or your own personal vehicle. It costs gas, maintenance, brakes, oil changes. If you own a house, you got to pay insurance and taxes on it every year. Then on top of that, the roof gonna have some nails popping up through it. Something gonna hit it. You know, you got to keep that dry. You know, at some point the faucet gonna be leaking. You got to change that out, or you gonna have an astronomical water bill. I mean, you got to pay utilities. If you renting, you got to pay utilities. Whether it's a house or apartment, whatever the extra stuff you got to take care of. You got to buy cleaner for the house to keep it clean if you're a clean person. I mean, just certain things you do. And that's not even consider whatever substance that you use to get off on, whether it's sugar, meaning cookies, cake, or whatever. If you got a food, you know, consumption that you just a food and you like eat all the time. If you doing some type of frequent alcohol use, or not to mention some other type of drug use, how are you accountable? How are you accounting for all this stuff that you're trying to spend? What type of lifestyle are you trying to lead? Everybody not rich. Everybody not rich, and everybody not, but everybody's not rich. Meaning like money just automatically coming over and over and over again. And some of these, you know, get rich quick schemes are not sustainable, because a lot of this stuff is just when people got money available to throw around. And I mean, entertainment is based on luxury. People who have enough money extra to pay for that type of stuff. People don't sit around getting entertained all the time. Some people got to get out here and work and get it. And if you're not a consistent person with your business, people not gonna necessarily come. If you just want to, oh, I'm gonna work this day, but I'm not gonna work this day. I mean, it's called setting up a schedule. I will work these hours, you know, and if you got clients, you need to be there before your client, so you be set up and ready to go when your client get there. So I'm just saying, are we good stewards of our resources? What are we doing with what we got? And I want to read this from 1 Corinthians 4. Moreover, it is required of stewards that they be found faithful. But with me, it is a very small thing that I should be judged by you or by any human court. And I do not even judge myself, for I am not aware of anything against myself, but I am not thereby acquitted. It is the Lord who judges me. Therefore, do not pronounce judgment before the time, before the Lord comes, who will bring to the things now hidden in darkness, and will bring to light the things now hidden in the heart. Then each one will receive his commendation from God. So I read all that to get to that verse 5 part. What is God gonna say when he looks at you? Is he gonna say, my good and faithful servant? Are the people who are managing you, even if it's your customer because you're in business for yourself, are they gonna tip you? Are they gonna feel good and want to come back to your services? Are you being fair? Like, real talk, are you being fair with what you're doing? And that's something we got to consider. Are we really being fair? Or are we just sitting up here thinking that we can do something, not complete the job, not do what we asked to do, not do it in a timely fashion? I mean, it shouldn't take 3 months when somebody's giving you a deposit to finish a job. That only takes a month at most, and that's with delays. So just think about, are you a good steward? Are you doing what you were required to do, requested to do, expected to do? Are you reciprocal If somebody has been sowing in you for an entire year and you cook and you never made them a meal, and you think that just because you're around this person that your company is all that this person needs, think about that. One-way streets in relationships often end in a crash, a dead end, a lack of movement. Because when there's no return, there's no giving back. People often get upset and want to move on. I heard something, and it was like, I forget where it was from, but I didn't make this up. But it was like, I move on when I learn my lesson. I learned it's not about teaching you anything. It's that I learned that you're not going to give me what I need to feel good about continuing to give to you. And that's life. Life is based on your ability to provide for the lifestyle that you want to live and to enjoy the people that are around you. And if you have nobody whom you can be interdependent, enjoy life, that is resourceful, they often drain you because they're always needing something. And if a person got to pay everything all the time, that becomes a drain. Unless there's something on the back end that's being given. And sometimes it's just nice to say, show some appreciation, not just say thank you. And if you can't say thank you every time, then how are you showing any appreciation? Especially when you're not doing anything on the back end. So just think about, are you responsible with the resources that you've given, the dollars that you've given, the ability that you've been given, the choices that you've made? We're all responsible for the choices that we made. We can't blame nobody but ourselves for what we chose. Now, somebody manipulated us, that's different, but they can't keep manipulating us over and over again. You have to set boundaries for what you will tolerate or not. Now, let me put a caveat in there. If God assigns you to be in a certain space to serve, to show his love for somebody, that's something different. But if that's not the case, and even then, you're not a doormat, and you got to let people know, hey, this is not acceptable. Even in that service, hey, I don't appreciate that type of whatever action it was. And be careful to make sure that you direct it toward the action than the person, because a lot of broken people out here are hurting people, and when you tell them that they're not enough versus their action is not appreciated, then it can get, they're gonna be sensitive a lot of times anyway. But it's easier to get a person to understand that, hey, look, this action that you're doing is not appreciated, versus I know you got to get hard, and I just know that right there, I know you're better than that. So even with our level of maturity or our level of influence, and I say influence because when you're dealing with somebody hurt, and this is all about the responsibility of the resources that you have, emotional responsibility. So if you're dealing with somebody and you're correcting them, how we say what we say, it's a difference when you say you attack the person versus the action. And that's the point I'm trying to make. And since I'm on that, I would also like to say, in relationships, if you can give your friends who's not your intimate partner all this exuberant energy, and you get a person that you're intimate with all these little leftover crumbs, and it's like what, I ain't, you was on the phone with so-and-so talking all like this, but now you talking to me, it's all like that. And I haven't done anything wrong to you. And when I check that action saying that that's not appreciated, then there's a problem. Then What you're telling me is that that person you're talking to, or that person outside, is more important than I am. So be careful in how we show people more than what we say to them. Some people's "I love you" means different things depending on the person they're dealing with. "I love you" to my friend could be more of true love than the person that is an intimate partner. Because some people just haven't had good examples of healthy, intimate partner relationships. They've only seen that more agape love with friends than they have intimate mates. So if a person doesn't understand that there's an unequal yoke with that, and you have to be mindful that either that's okay or it's not. And if it's not okay, then it's not okay. Like, for real, if it's not okay, then it's not okay. And you have to let people know what is or what is not okay. And you have to be okay with yourself to say, I can remove myself from this temporarily or permanently, or I can deal with it. So at some point, you make the choice for your life, but let God lead you in all decisions and the people you choose. Because remember, we choose the people in our life. We're always presented with different people, but we choose. So with everything you have, be responsible. Be responsible with your mouth and how you speak to people. Be responsible with your energy and how you project yourself to people. Be responsible with your resources and how you use them. Be responsible with your health and how you use or abuse it. Be responsible with the raising of your children and making sure you with healthy people to be around, especially who's caring for them, whether it's at the school, the recreation, or relative. Be responsible and not being so unforgiving with them or harsh with them when it's your turn to take care of them. Because if you choosing to take care of them, take care of them. And if you're not, then you're not choosing to take care of them. So in all this, be responsible. Be responsible with your relationship with God by making sure that you are receiving and giving. Love is three things. It's obedience, it's service, and it's a good attitude. It's an action. All of that is action. It's a doing. It's not about your feelings. You got to get out your feelings. And you got to recognize that when it's difficult for me to serve this person, it's easier for me to understand that I'm serving God, even though this person may be the recipient of this situation. And that's what I've used to take me the agape love, the unconditional love, when it's hard for me to love, because what I'm seeing in you is getting on my nerves and testing me in areas that I need to grow. And I recognize that God has put me in places where He's shown me where I need to grow. I mean, self-sabotage has been an issue with me, because I see this thing that triggers me or whatever, but at the same time, it's like that's the area I need to grow in versus that other person. And if you don't grow in that area, you've not passed the test, the reason this person is in your life, which could kill the season or a lifetime. So I eat of my own advice, and I recognize that I'm not perfect, and I don't expect other people to be perfect. No matter how much respect I expect, I do expect respect, but I do understand that sometimes we just have a bad day, and you don't throw people away just because we had a bad day. So In closing, be responsible with your resources. All right.